Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday's Intuitive Eating Tips. Today I want to talk about the three main eating personalities: the clean eater, the professional dieter, and the unconscious eater. So, what is the clean eater? Well, clean eater we see a lot in wellness culture. It's somebody who takes clean eating on or healthy eating on as almost a personality. So you're really diligent about what you put in your body. You're always reading labels. A lot of times there's little joy or excitement around food because you're so conscious of eating the right thing. It really does become part of your personality and part of your identity. You spend a lot of time thinking about it, planning, worrying, and really trying to live up to that standard that you have set for yourself. So we see it a lot again in the gym culture, wellness culture, and it can fly under the radar because most people really think that you're this healthy person. And a lot of people will even look up to you like, wow, look how disciplined you are. Meanwhile, you have all this anxiety and anxiousness around eating because you have these really strict standards for yourself. So that's the clean eater. The next is the professional dieter. You have probably tried all the diets in the world, from keto to Weight Watchers to high protein, low carb, everything. You've tried one after the other, hoping that it will work. And we all know that they don't work. So the focus of the professional dieter is to shrink your body, right? That's the goal. And that's what keeps this person coming back for more and trying the next thing and the next thing. A lot of times we will see the professional dieter have these all or nothing mindsets. This last meal, maybe this is the last time I'm going to have ice cream, and they tend to overdo it before the diet starts tomorrow. So we see a lot of that personality also in the professional dieter. The problem with this is that we all know you gain, lose, gain, lose, gain, lose. And with that leads to a lot of frustration and shame and guilt. And it just steals a lot of joy. So that hamster wheel of always going on the next diet is such a joy suck out of your life. So that's what the professional dieter personality looks like. Last, we have the unconscious eater. And then within the unconscious eater, we have subcategories. So the unconscious eater is somebody who's really busy, isn't taking the time to be mindful. You could see them rushing from one event to the other event and just kind of grabbing and shoving things in their mouth. They're multitasking while they're eating, so they're not necessarily mindfully eating and noticing when they're full, or even noticing when they're not liking a food. They're just mission driven. So within the unconscious eater, we see the waste not eater, which is somebody who doesn't want to throw out the last bite. They would rather eat it even though they're full. They may have grown up with um, the rule that you had to clean the plate before you get off. So get out of the tape off out of the table, up from the table, and they will eat past that level of fullness because they don't want to waste food. So they'll eat the last bite, they'll finish their kids' food, they'll, whatever it is. They bypass the fullness sensation and their mission is to not waste, regardless. The next we see is the refuse not eater. So this is somebody who would go to a buffet and load their plate up because they just can't refuse, all this yummy food. Perhaps they haven't allowed themselves to have that food, or they're overly hungry, they're trying to diet. So when they are put in front of large quantities of food, they can't help themselves. It makes total sense, but they have a hard time saying no. So we call them the refuse not eater. Next, we have the emotional eater. So somebody who eats in response to emotions. It doesn't just have to be sadness. So it can be happy, sad, excited, anxious, fearful, all sorts of emotions. So I think that's really important, that it's not just when you're sad, right? It can be when you're happy. Food is used as kind of the thing that amplifies the emotion or tames the emotion. So if you're anxious, maybe you're grabbing food. If you're excited, maybe you're grabbing cocktails and party food and snacks. So what can we do instead of using food to cope with the emotion? Sometimes food is what's needed, but we want to be able to consciously make that decision. It's not just this unconscious habit that we do. And then last, we have the chaotic dieter who maybe goes from work to the gym, to the ball game, to this, to that, and they're just grabbing and eating as they're driving by a fast food restaurant, or even driving by the kitchen. They're doing this drive-by eating where they're just grabbing stuff out of the pantry and eating. So with all those subcategories, the overarching identifier is this unconsciousness. We're not mindful when we're doing these things, whether it's emotional eating, waste not, refuse not, or chaotic eating. They're all done from that unconscious place. So really starting to bring your consciousness to it can help unlearn those habits and reestablish some new habits, and bring your consciousness to eating. So once we know our personality type, then we can start to do the work that's needed to make you more mindful or more conscious when you're eating. Or we can't change what we don't know. So knowing your eating personality is really a gift, because then you can be more aware of when your unconscious eating personality is kind of taking charge, and then you can make the decision to do something different. These are all things that we talk about in the Nourished Academy. I will put a link to the handout below. So if you want to read a little bit more about the different eating personalities, go ahead, grab that download. If you want to learn more about the Nourished Academy, you can head to my website, jessicadnutrition.com. And I will see you next week for more Tuesday tips for intuitive eating.